From unsolved mysteries to unexplained phenomena, from comedy gold to relationship fails, Amazon Music's got the most ad-free top podcasts, included with Prime. Because the only thing that should interrupt your listening is, well, nothing. Download the Amazon Music app today.
What are the first 5 steps you need to take to create your course? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome. Okay, here's the question. Serious? How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph? Come on. Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it up.
What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Welcome back to your weekly dose of how to create an online course learning. I am your Dark Horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and I have been in the coaching, course creation, and online space since the 1990s. So I have just a little bit of experience under my belt, and yet here I am still learning. And I'm here to share with you what I have learned and what I am still learning about course creation, marketing, coaching, entrepreneurship, and most of all, infopreneurship. And who are you? Well, that, my friend, is infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur, more specifically an infopreneur with or seeking a coaching and online course model and business, or maybe you're just hoping to have that very, very soon. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, and just start loving out with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And that's why I am here hitting you with yet another solo success episode coming to you straight from the Dark Horse Entrepreneur as we dive deep into your infopreneur and course creation success with actionable advice, tips, and steps designed to help you level up your game, because as we already know, there are no shortcuts to success except for taking those little steps towards your goal every single day. And today we're going to start talking about some of those little steps. And I'm probably going to have to break this up into 2, maybe 3 episodes, because I was sitting down and I was jotting down myself some notes here about the steps that you need to take in order to create your online course. Over the past couple of episodes, we've talked about why you should have an online course, right? And that was back in episode 335, all the reasons why you should create an online course. And in 336, we talked about who should create their online course. And now here we are in 337, and we're going to be talking about the actual steps that you're going to need to take to create that online course. Are we feeling a trend here or what? But I think the reason I'm going to have to chop this up a little bit for you and make it a little bit digestible, you could say, is as I sat down, I originally had, just a handful. And I thought, nah, that's kind of holding back some of the magic. And I don't want to do that to you guys. I want to give you everything so that you're not short-circuiting as you're going, wow, he gave me that episode. It gave me the 5 steps to create an online course, and shit, that's not everything I need to do. So I want to try and deliver to you in a concise format the 15, I think it's 15, it may be 16 by the time we're done, the 15 steps you're going to need to take. Now, this episode will probably be the first 5, and the next episode will be the next 5, and of course the last episode will wrap it all up. Okay? But here they are in short. Right? I'm going to give you the short Reader's Digest condensed version of the 15 steps you need to take to create your online course. And they are, number 1, of course, pick your topic. Yeah? Number 2, you want to make sure, you want to test it out, right? You want to make sure that it's a good idea and there's some demand out there for it. Number 3, you want to create some compelling, even magnetic outcomes. Why they want to listen to this course. Sure, it's great to know what it is you're going to teach them, but why, right? Then you're going to go into, gathering your content together. Then you're going to start structuring it, planning it out, and picking a platform, wherever you're going to share that at. And then you're going to go into determining what is the most engaging and effective means for your course, for your lessons, right? Everyone thinks, well, I'm going to go do video. Well, maybe sometimes video isn't always necessary. You could do it in a podcast format, right? So you want to pick what's most effective and most engaging for you, for your course, and it varies. Number 7, you want to make sure your content is engaging. So we're going to chat a bit about that. Then we'll go into filming, recording, and editing of your course, right? We'll talk about setting up your online school. We're going to talk about pricing it, right? And feeding it maybe into a bigger education-based model that you want to have. Courses lead to more courses, you could say. Then we're going to go into launching and marketing that launch. Then we're going to go into additional marketing of your content, right? And we'll talk about cultivating a community. Here's where the real magic starts to happen, because inside that community, you get your next step, which is gathering feedback, which leads to the final step that so many miss, is adapt, improve, and update. Here we are, we're already 6 minutes into the podcast, and we're going, see, I'm going to have to chop this up, ladies and gentlemen. So you can see there's a lot here, and if you have any interest whatsoever in creating your online course, this is the place to be for at least the next 3 episodes. And I would highly encourage you to go back to episodes 335 and 336 and listen to those, because in learning who needs to have an online course, there's lots of great information on how you can use it. You may think, I know I need to be one of the people that have an online course, but maybe inside there you'll probably find some tidbits, some nuggets, some little gold gems of knowledge. You're like, wow, I hadn't thought about using it that way. So then you can come back here and say, all right, he's got me hooked. I know I need the course. Now it's time to learn those 15 steps. All right, let's launch right into it. Step number 1, pick your topic. There it is. I know this seems like such the easiest step, and people are going, why do you need to tell me to pick my topic? Because I already know what my topic. There are so many people out there that are going, what could I teach about? Let's go into this just for a minute, shall we? If you're not passionate about the topic, you're probably going to fall flat on your face. There it is. I've seen so many people that say, oh man, that's such a hot topic, I'm going to create a course on it. And they're not really into the topic. They just know there's money to be made. I think that's going into it for the wrong reasons, and your energy will come out, or your lack of energy, right? Because you're not jived up. You're not excited about the topic. You're going to come across like a cardboard sandwich, just as dry and monotone as I'm speaking right now. So, you want to pick a topic that is near and dear to your heart, that you are like, wow, I could study this like all day long, right? And inside of that, the topics are almost endless, right? You could go with Microsoft Access, Microsoft Excel. I want to teach you how to guitar. That's good. I could teach you how to speak. How about that? I want to teach you how to do yoga, photography, sewing, right? Maybe it's even more niche. I want to teach you how to cook Hispanic dishes. I want to teach you how to sew pants. I don't know. Remember, I've told the story a couple of times about the couple that sold thousands. I think it was almost 10,000. It was thousands of how-to courses on how to make a bow. Right? Maybe you're passionate about photography or rowing or skating, roller skating, deer hunting. I don't know what it is. In short, if you love your topic and you are even slightly good at your topic, and even more so, if you have experience in the topic, whether that be formal or just life experience, and this could fulfill a need for someone, then you, my friend, quite probably have a topic and an expertise that you could monetize. But here, let me give you a little exercise you can run through. So let me really just deliver the nuts and bolts of this. Grab yourself a sheet of paper, maybe, a notepad if you're on your computer or laptop, or an Excel spreadsheet, whichever works for you. And in the first column, I want you to write passion and interests. Right? In the next column, skills. And in that last column on the far right, experience and achievements. And then take a couple of minutes, take at least 5 minutes. 5 minutes out of your day is not much to ask, right? To change your life. And write down your passions, your interests, right? Go down that list. And then go over to skills and write down your skills. Heck, you don't have to do this in order. If you think of something that pops in your head, just look at it and say, is that a passion, a skill, or an interest? All right? Is it something I have experience and achievement in? If it happens to fit all three, write it all the way across. Now, after that, you go through that and just empty your mind into this, right? Go for it. Here are all my passions and interests. Here's all my skills. Here's all the experience and achievements I have attained. And then find out where all three of them intersect, right? Maybe you are passionate about getting in front of an audience and sharing something about personal development, and you have achieved some wins in personal development. That's all three of intersect. That's an example of what started my path way back in the 1990s. I was passionate about sharing, and I had no problem standing in front of an audience speaking. So there was a skill there, and I had done some things from the Jim Rohn events I had been to, and the Zig Ziglar events, and the Anthony Robbins trainings I had been to, and I had achieved some things as a result of that. So there is a perfect example of alignments. And as you go through this, you're probably going to find 1, 2, maybe 3 or more if you're lucky enough, if you really took the time and the diligence to go through the list where a number of things intersect, and you're like, man, I got to pick one of them. And there it is. And I think one of the things you want to remember is people take online courses because they're looking for a transformation from their current reality to a place they want to be. So it's going to be important that you pick a topic that an audience will be motivated enough to hand over their credit card information, pay some money, right? And take some time to go through your course. We're going to cover that in an upcoming piece. So there you are. Quick way to pick your topic. Now, in making sure there's enough, which is step 2, you want to make sure there's enough demand in the marketplace for the topic that you want to teach. Now, if you go down that list and you say, well, I'm a great drywall guy, and I like licking drywall, and I get this example from a friend of mine who says, you know what, you may be really passionate about licking drywall. There might not be a whole lot of money in it, right? You might hit viral video for a short period of time, and that's going to fizzle out. So you want to make sure that there is some demand in the marketplace for the topic you chose. Because I can tell you, I have been privy to a number of folks that have taken the time and the effort to create an online course, and absolutely nobody bought it. Because there was no demand in the marketplace. It wasn't because they did a bad job putting the course together. It wasn't because they did a bad job marketing the course. It was just that there wasn't the need for the course out there in the marketplace. So you want to maybe test the waters a little bit, right? And you can do that with a little bit of market research. Because if you think about it, you don't want to be the person that creates something and then goes out and tries to find the people to buy it. No, you want to flip it on its ear. You want to find the problem that's out there in the marketplace and how your passion and expertise and achievements can solve that problem, right? There you go. You want to be looking for things that people are already searching for, things that they're already asking questions about. And as I mentioned, if there's some gap in the marketplace, your course that you create, can it fill that gap, right? Is someone going to be willing to pay money to solve that problem, whatever the problem is that your course brings resolution to, right? And if you answer if you answer yes to all 3 of these, then you probably are on the right path. And I think the only thing you want to do is give it a little personal tweak. That way you want to be similar in solution, but different in presentation, different in delivery, different in idea. That way your course is one on its own, right? It's one. It is a market of one, because someone looks at that and say, well, yeah, I have that problem. Wow. And no one else is bringing a solution the way this course is bringing that solution. Now, they're not comparing you to others because you're already different. But how can you make sure that there are out there people asking those questions, right? Can you make sure that there is some validity, not just guessing? Obviously, I'm going to give you some of the things you probably know, but you can check Google Trends. So, for instance, if you're trying to teach, how to bow hunt, well, you can go out to Google Trends and look for online bow hunting classes. And you'll be able to see the line over time. Is it high, right? Are there thousands of people doing those searches? Is it on the rise? Is it on the fall? If it's on the fall, you might not want to pick that one because the demand for it is dwindling. You can go into a keyword planner, right? And go the next level down and look at, bow hunting courses, bow hunting classes, even free bow hunting learning online or something like that, whatever those keywords are, and see where they are fitting in the monthly search responses and even the competition. Do not be afraid of competition. Here's the thing. If you go out there and find that every single one of your keywords have medium and high competition, that means there are lots of people out there delivering the content you're thinking of delivering. This is where the magic of you being a class of one out of many, you stand alone because you're delivering it in a little bit different tweak. Another way you can go look for the validity and the demand is going to like Reddit and Quora and looking for the questions there. You can also go to Answer the Public. All free options, go search things. And then, of course, we all know about going to Facebook groups and kind of scroll through the Facebook groups that might be out there on your topic, the example I was giving of bow hunting. Now, as you stumble through this and mumble through this, you're going to start seeing a number of courses that, number of vendors offering a course similar to what you're thinking of, potentially, and you want to go look at them. And the reason I want you to go look at them is because you want to find a gap in their content that you could fill so that you can stand out and say, hey, I've been out there, I've been looking at all the different courses out there, and the one thing every single one of them miss is...
You're now listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
And then you tell them what those things are and how you're going to fill that hole. That way you can give very similar content and still stand out from the rest. I can think of a couple of quick ways you can do that is how can you cover a well-covered, even popular topic a little differently, right? Maybe you can integrate some of the different social media trends that are out there, doing a TikTok video or doing a reel or a YouTube short out there, and just keep delivering those messages out there until you find that way that people are resonating with, right? And you could take a boring topic like, English or Excel tips, right? I remember hearing a story about a young lady who actually did that. She carved herself a niche out there in the TikTok space by delivering these Excel TikTok videos, and it became people were starting to learn it. She was getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views a day, and did that very quickly. She ended up, I think, if I remember correctly, quitting her job, and now leverages that to sell her courses, is making a couple tens of thousands a month doing just that. And maybe you can appeal your audience to appeal your course to a different audience. Maybe instead of targeting the usual audience for your course, maybe you target an audience that might be, left out. So think about it this way. How many guys are into cars? Lots. There are a lot of guys into cars and the different styles of cars. And as growing up, I always thought it was kind of cool every time I came across a young lady that was as into cars as me and my guys were, right? And there's one young lady who I'm still friends with to this day, Leona. She's a big car buff. So maybe you have a course that you start targeting those that have been left out of the conversation. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to start getting their memberships And you're still going to get the memberships from the people that are going to pay attention to it anyway. The car guys are still going to come to your car course, right? But now, because you're targeting that left out audience, now you're different than the rest. You're one amongst a crowd. Yeah, I am definitely going to have to chop this up into multiple episodes, because we're only on number 3, is you want to create some compelling learning outcomes. What it is they're going to get out of your course. Because at the end of the day, your students, the people that gravitate towards you, are only taking your course to get something out of it. Some transformation, some way to get from where they are to where they want to be, that desired future. Otherwise, why in the world would they hand over money to you to do something they don't understand, and maybe they don't even want to? And they don't even know what's going to do for them. I mean, you put together a course, say, here's a great course on, I don't know, bow hunting for beginners. Well, what am I going to get out of this? Right? And if you're not able to articulate that, well, one, it's going to, I think it might make it more difficult for you to structure your course, because you haven't taken the time to figure out what it is you want to teach them specifically, and make sure you have those deliverables ready so that as you go through the course, you make sure they're taught and they get those deliverables. And then 2, it's going to help you with your marketing, because your marketing message should be embedded inside your content. That way you don't have to worry about creating marketing later. All you have to do is pull out some of the content. You say, hey, it's going to make you a far better bow hunter, whether you're going to be bow hunting this species or that species, or if you just want to be a better practiced archery person. And I'm using those words wrong. I know I am. Here's the thing. Just because you know what your course is going to give your students, it doesn't mean that they're going to know. And if your students don't know how the course is going to help them, most likely, they are not going to enroll. So you want to learn how to explain the outcomes clearly and measurably, so the learner will be able to know what it is they're going to be able to do by the end of your course, what skills they're going to be able to demonstrate, what knowledge are going to have gathered up and obtained, and what feelings, might they have moved away from or moved towards. And be kind of specific. By the end of this course, you'll be able to demonstrate X. By the end of this course, you'll be able to, 1, know how to sight your bow and accurately target your prey. I'm going to use this bow thing to death. I'm sorry for you folks that don't believe in hunting. I'm not doing this to offend you. I'm just using an example. By the end of this course, you will know how to pick the best junker to rebuild. If we go back to the car builder example, right? Wow. I want to know that. I've always wanted to rebuild a car. How do I pick the right junker? What things do I need to look for? What things do I need to avoid? We will make sure that you don't get caught by X, Y, and Z. Rusted out A-frames or rusted out core frames. I don't know what it is. I'm talking at the side of my head. I don't know. I'm not an expert there. All right. And this step number 3 of outlining specifically, these compelling learning opportunities are going to help you with step 4, which is picking and gathering the content of your course, right? This is the stage, I think, where most course creators really stumble, bumble, fall, and faceplant right here. They just trip into that black hole of procrastination. Which is why I want to make sure in step 3, you have given those specific outcomes. Because now okay, in order for my students to learn A, B, C, and D that I told them was going to be their outcomes, I need to teach them A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, whatever it may be. Because I think so many of the times that potential course creators get stuck in the massive amounts of volume that's either A, in their heads, B, available online in their research, C, on their hard drives, D, in books, or anywhere else, maybe cluttered around in notepads around their home. Who knows? Maybe they're getting it from an expert that they are closely associated with, and they just don't know what they should include, and obviously what they should exclude. So this is where the research that you have or will conduct in the previous 2 steps is going to help you, because you've said, okay, here's the learning outcomes that people want. All the marketing research showed it. And this is how I'm going to teach them those things. So now you can sort through all that knowledge you got rolling around in that amazing brain of yours and push aside those things that don't relate exactly or relatively closely to those outcomes that you just outlined in the previous step. And at the same time, you're going to make sure every single one of your outcomes has the learning that you need for them to get that outcome. So this way, the only thing you're going to be teaching is content that answers your audience's burning, fired up questions and fill in those gaps that you found your competitors missed. You remember, you went out, you did a little research, say, okay, they're all teaching that, what the right bow is, how to stand correctly, how to shoot correctly, how to maybe traipse through the woods as quietly as possible. And I'm winging it here. But what they didn't teach you is, boom. Yeah, see, there's the unanswered question in all those other courses that you're going to answer. And you're going to make sure your content delivers that, fills those gaps not met by your competitors. And here's another really cool thing. While you're out there doing that research, you probably came across a community or a Facebook group or a blog or a YouTube channel, right? And you could figure out what the popular content is, and you can package it in a better way, in a more structured way, and fill in those gaps. Maybe even go back to that Facebook group or that blog and read the questions that keep getting asked that maybe are skirted over. Yeah, here's what you do. And they just give you this blah answer. And you're like, no, there's really so much more to that. And then you go deeper in your course. And that leads us right to number 5. You see how these things just kind of flow right together, right? That's what I said. When I originally sat down and penciled this episode out, I was like, man, I'm not going to make multiple episodes out of this, because right after you get through all that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to structure your models, your modules, as well as your course plan, right? This is the stage where you're going to take a look at that content that you figured, okay, this is what I'm going to teach. Then you start grouping them together, right? Whether it's in some chronological order, some themes that go together, there's some coordination of tips and ideas, whatever the content is, there's going to be a logical pattern for them to go into, right? And this is logical to you as the teacher. So I want you to pause for a moment and think about logical according to the student's eyes, not your eyes. And then you start ordering that content, those lectures, those talks that you're going to give into those modules into a progressive, and I'm going to use the word logical once more, manner so they form this flowing sequence of events, right? You don't want to go to someone and say, okay, well, the first thing you're going to do after you pick out your car you're going to rebuild, because one of the holes you thought you were going to fill was how to pick the right car to rebuild. You get me? You can't go right straight, step 3 and then go back and say, oh, by the way, here's how you do steps 1 and 2, right? You want to just go through it how it makes sense. Now, inside of this, I'm going to give you a little tip here. There is something called an instructional design storyboard that can really help you save a lot of time, right? It helps you keep your focus, your training focused, and it makes sure that you hit all the important points along the student's learning journey before you sink all the hours into creating that course. I'm not going to walk through all the design models that are out there. I'll probably put a link in the show notes so you can go check that out, and maybe I'll do a separate episode on that to help you all with that. But here's something I do want to leave you with, is the fact that I find most of the online course creators that I have come across, they're not really going to create a single course and say, yep, that's it, I'm done. They're going to create this, academy of courses. Some of them may start at the top and go backwards, and some of them may start at the bottom and go up. Hey, I'm going to start with the easiest thing and keep giving them more information, how to get better and better, to go from beginner to journeyman to expert to professional, right, and beyond. Or some people start with professional and start working backwards. But I think one of the cool things about that is that you can begin to bundle your courses. How to go from, the beginner hunter to the master hunter, right? To the ninja hunter. Or if we want to use a baking analogy, how to go from burning your fingers on the hot stove to becoming a master chef. And there could be a course on sourcing your materials, or it could be a chapter inside your course, how to source your ingredients for your best dish you're going to create. And then it could be even be some content inside there about bulk sourcing. Hey, I need lots of flours, I'm doing lots of baking, or I need lots of meat because I'm doing lots of cooking. And then there could be another course on chopping your ingredients. And, there's, and not just the, to avoid injury, right? There could be a course in there about chopping correctly, because as some people know, if you cut an onion one way, you get one level of flavor. You cut an onion the other way, you get a completely different level of flavor. And inside that chopping course, you could teach people about knives. Which knives are the right ones for which scenario, and I only know this because my father was a chef, right? And how to sharpen them correctly, how to use them correctly, the different cutting techniques that are used in different scenarios when you're from meat to vegetables to anything else. Does that make sense? So now you've got this whole, hey, I'm going to teach you how to cook is one thing. Now I'm going to teach you how to find what it is you cook so that your cooking becomes even better. I'm going to teach you how to bulk find it. I'm going to teach you how to cut it. I'm going to teach you how to use the tools correctly in the case of the knives, and so forth and so on. So if you're taking on that venture, right, you could think of this whole academy as the top of the pyramid, let's call it. And then right below that could be 1 or 2 or 3 bundles of courses. And right below that, each one of those bundles could be 2 or 3 or 4 courses. And inside of each course, you're going to have a chapter, and inside each chapter will be lessons. And each lesson will be a media item or items, right? So you go from academy down to bundle, down to courses, and chapters, lessons, all the way down to the lowest of media items, the actual recording. And down in those lessons, much like we discussed earlier in the overall course, when you're down in the lessons, right, you want to make sure you're answering some questions. Each lesson shouldn't be there if it's not giving you some answer to a question or an answer to how to get to a destination. Like, what is it your students already know at this point, right? So now you've made some assumptions, and you're letting them know. I think if you're at this level, you already know X, Y, Z. And if they don't, well, then they should go back to the previous lesson or the previous course and go learn it, right? Now, what do they need to learn? And that's what's going to happen next. And what's best way to unlock whatever it is they need to unlock at this spot in their journey, right? And then you start teaching them that. So those 3 lessons, those 3 questions should be answered in every lesson you deliver. What is it they already know? What is it they need to learn? And what's the best way for them to use it and lock it in place, right? How to unlock it, and how to get them just synced in and just, right? You're turning that little groove like a record player, and you're turning it into a gully so it never goes away. So go through and create your lesson plans, right, for your course. Maybe you break it down into 3 chapters. And each chapter will have 3 lessons, and maybe each one of those lessons delivers 3 questions. All right. So if we're talking about, let's talk about baking again. We've been talking about that. All right. So in this chapter, we're going to learn how to source the ingredients for baking, right? And we're going to learn how to do that in such a way where we're going to save time and money. And inside here, we're going to talk about how to find fresh local ingredients. We're going to talk about how to evaluate those ingredients for the best nutritional value, right? And then lastly, and a bonus, we're going to talk about how to buy those ingredients in bulk so that you can use them across multiple recipes. See? There you go. And then you just go and you deliver that content. All right, my Dark Horse friends and family and my fellow infopreneurs. That's it for this one here. I don't want to make this too much longer. We're already at step 5 and I'm a half hour into this. So in the next episode, 338, we're going to go into the next 5 steps that you need to create an online course for beginners even, right? All right. By the way, if you're looking for some help in your course creation or maybe even your podcast, you're looking to launch a podcast, you're looking to launch a course, come on over. I can help you with that. If you want some of my help, just go on over to darkhorseschooling.com/coaching. And if you go to darkhorseschooling.com, you'll see up there in the upper right hand, if you're on your iPhone, it'll be the hamburger. Click that hamburger. You'll see coaching. Just click that. If you're on your computer, you'll see coaching as a tab up there. Click that. And you can fill in the form right there and I'll get back to you. Or you can send me an email at tracy@darkhorseschooling.com. Let me see how I can be of service to you in helping you start, restart, or kickstart your infopreneur business or, hey, even your podcast. And lastly, I know you want to keep getting all these daily success tips, so please make sure you go on down there and hit that subscribe button. That way when you get the next 2 episodes of How to Create Your Online Course, you won't miss them. While you're there, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating. Drop us some kind words in the review. If you have questions that I leave unanswered, let me know them there. I'll make sure to answer them in an upcoming episode. Here's the really cool thing. It's these subscribes, ratings, and reviews that tell all those podcast platforms out there that you are getting some value. And what they do in return is they lift us up a little bit in the rankings so that we can meet more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So please, take a moment, show the love, and help spread the word. Alrighty, you get out there. You run your race. You get your results. And come let me hear about them. Until next time, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
And you know this.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.